I feel like, 18 years ago, we might have used it a lot more than now,
100%. Yes,
right?
it
So
it
it's like a
served
big
so
deal.
many different things. People were using it for
Completely,
dating,
right?
like, yikes, yeah,
Yeah. I never use it for that.
good.
That's
Well, you're here today, so we know that you didn't, so
I'm in no one's basement, so I'm
you
okay.
made it. Welcome back to Sprung On Food, an interview-based show where the overall topic of conversation is food. I'm your host, Kae Sprung. This season, I'm talking to food content creators, and my next guest is Paulette Goto, also known as Polly Cooks and Eats. Let's get into the show. Paulette is a pastry chef and creator of Polly Cooks and Eats. She graduated the top of her pastry arts class from the French Culinary Institute and started working in the pastry kitchen of the New York City restaurant Le Cirque. Her wedding cakes have been featured editorially in Brides and New York Magazine's weddings. Paulette's expertise makes her a highly sought-after TV personality, featured on Netflix's Somebody Feed Bill, Food Network, and the Cooking Channel's Unique Sweets. Paulette is famous for her cakes that have the juxtaposition of beautiful frosted florals with provocative messages written on them. Paulette, welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be here. Good to see you. Thanks for having me. It's such an honor.
Oh, well, thank you. You're welcome. Yes, indeed. You are you are a cake pro. If you could only use one piping tip for every cake until the end of time, what would you choose?
The roast tip.
Oh, it's fast. I like that. And why?
Because you can make so many different flowers with a rose tip. You can pipe borders. I could alter it like with string to like make it
What do you mean string?
like I could put like a piece of string on the opening of it.
Okay.
So it would pipe out like with a line in it.
Oh, okay. Wow. I've
Right.
never done this before. Do you
Yeah.
have a tutorial video of that?
I don't. And I have been people have been asking me for tutorial videos. I need to get into it.
Yes. The
Yeah.
people want
I'm
it.
not the best with filming things, not my strong suit.
Hmm.
I just need to get someone to film me and then I'll do it. But yeah, I've been asked a lot.
Okay. I feel like I can help you with some of these.
I feel like I know you can help me with all of it.
Okay, amazing.
So get on that.
Because the string thing, I'm like, string? Also, I don't know. That's a good clarifying point because I'm not sure. I'd have to see if is string allowed? Okay, string would be allowed, so
Like
that's
strings
okay.
allowed, right?
Yeah.
So like imagine this is the tip
Yeah.
of the roast tip.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would put a string like on the middle or like towards the side and just tape it on the
Oh,
tip.
I see what you're
And then as I
saying.
piped, right, yeah, it would like give it a
Ah.
different look and dimension.
Ooh, okay. You threw me a curveball with that one. So you get a little variation on it. But
Yeah, you could do leaf with it that way, you know?
aha. Oh, dang. So yeah, then you have all of your bases
I could
covered.
literally do everything with a rose tip. You know what?
What?
I'm gonna make a cake just with rose tip.
We've
Just
just
just for this.
we've just created this piece of content. Let's do a collaborative one. We can make it a part of your episode.
That exactly, yeah, so here's the rose tip cake.
Yes. You you are, spoiler alert, a friend of mine. So I know you to be a very open and candid person. And you've talked about your childhood and growing up. You grew up Jehovah Witness, and that means you do not celebrate birthdays and thus no birthday cakes. Now you create cakes for literally every type of celebration that there is. What has that transformation been like?
Well, I mean, I think it's, so true, like, whenever you're suppressed in something, a lot of people will obsess over it and, like, want it more,
Mm.
and growing up Jehovah Witness was very much against my will, and I grew up in Utah, so obviously not a Mormon, brought up Jehovah Witness in Utah. So, no holidays, no birthdays, no nothing, and I was obsessed with birthdays, like, why can't we couldn't even say the word birthday, we had to say the day we were born. Yeah, it was pretty intense.
Oh, wow.
So right?
Yeah.
I asked an elder at the church once, when I was little, like 8 or 9, and I said, "Why can't we celebrate birthdays?" And look, I'm not the best with, like, quoting the Bible, strangely enough.
It's okay.
Uh, but he said that there was a mom and a daughter that wanted John the Baptist's head on a platter. There's more to this story than I'm giving, and she got his head on a platter, and that's why we can't have birthdays. And I said to him then, I just want some cake, balloons, maybe, and some presents. I'm not looking for anyone to die for my birthday. So, and I grew up also with an insatiable sweet tooth. My mom was a paranoid schizophrenic and a hoarder, and she would also hoard food. So we weren't allowed to just like help ourselves. We had to ask for anything we wanted to eat. We never knew what we could eat. So it was very feast or famine, literally. When there was food, we ate like we were never going to see it again. And with the insatiable sweet tooth, if the desserts like would not last 3 seconds in that house, like at all. Took me a very long time to get a healthy relationship with food. I don't know that I have it yet, but it's gotten better. So making birthday cakes really came from that.
Like, have you done a cake with a head on a platter?
I haven't, but because I have a hard time cutting into body parts as cake. There
Uh,
used to be a cake company in New York City that made a cake that looked like a baby.
oh, that's too far. That's
Like you're gonna hack it. And I joke like with people like, "Oh, let me come eat your baby." Because like babies are like, "Oh my god," but you're hacking into body parts. So I have a hard time with making anything too lifelike that.
yeah. Yeah,
I
no,
don't
it
know.
didn't have to be like a hyper realistic thing. Just
No,
a
right? But, like, I almost wanna make one that looks, like, so bad it's good, head
oh,
on a platter, does that make sense?
explain.
Like, it would be, like, cartoonish, like, clearly not a real person's head.
Yes, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it's like we
Like, I even
get
have
it.
a hard time hacking into, like, a Muppet head. Do you know
Really?
what I mean? Like, it's cake. 'Cause
Oh,
it's, like,
you're so emotional. I love that. That's good. You're a softie.
emotional. Yeah, I am, yeah. I'll talk about
Never
I'm
lose
a
that.
softie.
Never lose that. It's beautiful. You
Thank you.
you are a pastry pro to TV superstar. When did uh, going into TV start to become part of your repertoire?
So, a casting director actually placed an ad on Craigslist looking for moms to audition for a show for Food Network.
Really?
And yeah, then this is
Craigslist.
back when, like, this was so long ago because yeah, my daughter was 3,
Okay.
and this is when we were still looking on Craigslist for things,
Yeah. I mean,
right?
gosh, you know what? I remember well, I talk about it so fondly as if I haven't used it that I used it maybe only like 2 years ago to sell something. So
Right?
it's not that ancient.
I feel like, 18 years ago, we might have used it a lot more than now,
100%. Yes,
right? So
it
it's like a
served
big
so
deal,
many different people were using it for
completely,
dating,
right?
like, yikes, yeah,
Yeah, I never use it for that.
good.
That's
Well, you're here today, so we know that you didn't, so
I'm in no one's basement, so I'm
you
okay.
made it.
Right? So this casting director, I submitted an email and I had to do an audition tape. And so I was asked to audition at the Food Network studios in Chelsea Market. And I auditioned literally in front of every single Food Network exec.
Oh.
And they lowered the lights so I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see like the audience. It was just the spotlight on me. But I'm like, oh girl, please. This is where I do my best work. And I had everybody laughing. So I got picked for the show, but the show never was made, which
Ah,
in hindsight, everything happens for a reason. I'm glad that it didn't because that's not the route now I would have wanted to go down.
what was the show? You didn't sign like an NDA saying that you couldn't talk about it
No,
13 years
no, I
later, did
didn't.
you? Okay.
It was called the Mom Squad. Like basically, it was like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, but with moms.
Has that show ever been
It never happened.
it never made I feel like that would have been kind of like a really interesting okay, well, it didn't make it, but what was the premise?
Oh, so like if someone was having a party or an event and they weren't sure what they were doing, so I would be the pastry chef. Then we had a savory and we had like a party planner mom. We would come in and do it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Man, what the heck was wrong with them? That would have been such a cool show. I mean, it's fine that, you whatever,
Yeah.
but
Who knows, like, because that was, like, the beginning stages of it, and, like, from the beginning stages to the show actually happening, so much changes, so who knows, like, what it could have gone to,
it's true.
right? So, for after that audition, I was asked to audition for next Food Network star every year, and I said no every single year, and my entertainment lawyer said, "Just take the audition, like, they keep asking you, like, what is your deal?" I'm like, "'Cause I'm not the next star. I am the star. Like, please." And
Oh.
but my whole point was, and I said this to them, once you're on this show, that's who you are. That's it.
Hmm.
There's very few people. Guy Fieri, He's the only one I can think of that was on that show, and
How
actually,
many seasons of that show were there?
I mean, I have no clue, but I wanna say 20, 30,
What?
maybe?
Oh
Yeah.
boy. Do you know what's interesting is you said his name, and that's the only person that
Right?
I thought it was like a do you remember back in the day when MTV they didn't have many of them, but they used to do the search for like an ex VJ and they would have people and
Yes,
you could
yes,
like
yes.
vote for them, whatever. And
Oh, yeah.
and I think that they only did that maybe a couple times or something, but you remember what was it, Jesse? Like he was like the one. So like Guy Fieri is like the Jesse
Exactly.
of like VJs to
I
me. And then
yeah,
I didn't
I
know.
remember the others,
Yeah, I truly thought it was a one-time thing. Like we're picking one person.
and then that's it.
So
Oh,
now I'm
yeah.
gonna have to do my research and know who else has there been. But okay, I see what you're saying.
Right,
Okay.
right. So I took the audition and killed it.
Obviously.
And, they said, "If you're picked for the show, we'll call you, but if you're not picked, we'll email you." And I said, "Oh my god, like a guy?" Like, you don't wanna, like, have to deal with anyone crying, but they apparently I found out that, like, they did used to call the people who weren't on and had to deal with, like, some real, like, emotionally hysterical phone calls, so they decided to do that. Now the thing about that show is
It's a
when you're on
good
any of
tactic
those shows,
actually.
right? Yeah, seriously, like, I'd rather not have
Yeah, I
that
don't want to
messy
deal with
conversation.
you. I'm just gonna let you down. You're gonna know. Goodbye.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can go deal with it with somebody else, but not me.
exactly.
And then the other thing about these shows is still to this day, like, when there's groups of people that are vying for the top spot and they're, like, eliminated each week, they don't go home. They stay in a hotel. They're sequestered literally because you can't let anybody know who won. So
Right.
and, my daughter was so much younger then, and so I would have had to have been gone, like, sequestered for 6 weeks, which I was like, "That is so" or I think it was 8 weeks, actually, and, it wasn't just, like it wasn't my thing that I really wanted to do. So, around the time of the week or so later, I knew that I was gonna hear from them. I got a phone call and I saw it literally just said Food Network. I was like, "Oh my god." Like, it was so weird 'cause, like, I'm sure many people would have been excited, like, "Oh, fuck. Did they pick me?" And so, it was so funny because she calls, she's like, "We loved you. You were so great. You nailed it with the audition. Like, we know that you'd be wonderful. But if you're on this show, you're always gonna be from this" exactly what I said, why I didn't wanna be on it.
Mhm.
"Once you're on this show, you're pegged as that." And so they said, like, "We want other things with you. So, we want you, but not for this show." So
Mm.
then shortly after that, I got an email. I loved it. They're so official. Got an email saying, "Hey, we're doing a new show. Do you wanna be on it?" And it was Unique Sweets. And I was like, "I'm hair and makeup right now." So, Unique Sweets started, and I flew around the country and ate dessert and I had so much fun on that show. It was ridiculous. And then from that, I got the judging jobs and every I mean, I haven't been on audition in a long time, but, like, every
You're offer only
meeting. What? I'm offer only.
because
Yeah,
you're
I'm
offer
offer
only.
only. I'm in the world of real entertainment, I'm what you call offer only.
Yeah, kind of a big deal.
Sorry, I can there's a quote from Schitt's Creek, I can't help myself.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
do love that show, but I don't know a quote for quote just yet.
I do,
Okay.
and in the world of actual entertainment, I'm what you call offer only. This Moira shit, given her delivery is always good.
Oh,
So,
she's incredible.
right?
Yes.
But I take every single thing I'm ever invited or asked to do as opportunity, so I don't say no to anything. Unless
Aw.
I have to actually take that back.
Okay, yes.
I don't wanna be on TV just to be on TV.
Okay.
Like, I'm not hungry like that. Like, I want it to have good purpose and that I know I'll be good on it. So, if something doesn't make sense, no, but because I have been asked to be I mean, I've been asked for, like, a lot of other auditions, and it's so flattering because people there were like, "Oh, yeah, I sent in to get into this and, had to, like, deal with all this stuff. How did you get here?" I'm like, "They asked me to be here." So, like, it's very flattering that, like, that happens, so I love every opportunity.
Speaking of that, what would be something that would be a hard no?
I mean, definitely My hard no would be hardcore porn.
Okay.
There's the hard no.
Gotcha. Okay. Perfect. What about like Real Housewives of New York?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So there we go. So that would be a hard. So essentially anything, because for me personally, I was just talking about this the other day with reality TV and such. And because I'm late to the game and I just started catching up a couple seasons uh,
With what?
past Married at First Sight. Have you ever seen this show?
I have not, but do I need to get into it?
I don't know. It depends on what you like, but it's
I like trash I do love trashy TV, 90 Day Fiancé.
oh boy. Okay, so then this will probably be right up your alley. It
Okay.
is the long and short of it. They take 10 individuals. It's only heterosexual as I know of at this time. So they have 5 guys, 5 girls, and they meet for the very first time at the altar, get married, and the experience begins, and they have 8 weeks until they can decide whether they're going to remain married or get a divorce.
So I did see an episode only because there's this YouTuber that I love,
Okay.
and he did an episode on it.
So reality shows in general, I guess, would be for me a hard
Hard
no
no.
because they are so invasive. They're always there. You have to be so honest about everything and you have no privacy. And I'm a person who values my privacy. I don't mind being in front of camera, but let's make it very business and transactional like and then I go
Right.
home and you do not follow
And
me.
you stay there.
Yeah,
Exactly,
you
'cause
stay.
when I was married, I was at we were at me my ex and I and my ex-husband's business partner and his wife, we were actually asked to do a reality show.
Oh, I did not
And
know this.
I said to one of the producers, "What are you gonna tape me doing? Like my laundry?" Like there because I
Yes, everything.
by my by like reality TV standards, there's nothing exciting you wanna see here, in my opinion. And, she said, "No, we would, like, find events for you guys to go to and stuff." I was like, "Absolutely not," because the trend with reality TV isn't necessarily the nicest people get the most airtime. It's usually the most neurotic, hardcore, mean mess gets the most
They
airtime,
love the
and
drama.
that's not how I wanna be known on TV, like, what so, yeah, you have to create drama,
Mhm.
like, so I that's not how I wanna be. I enjoy watching it, and although I was when New York Housewives came on, we all like, she wanted to see like what was going on in New York. So it's been fun, but now it's just literally like women getting together to argue.
There's so many lunches. There's
That's it. They
so many
just
cocktail
meet.
parties.
They meet to do the weirdest things. Like I would never meet my friends at a craft store to make Christmas wreaths.
Yes.
Like someone did that. I was like, I wouldn't even know how to schedule my time for that. Do you know
Well,
what I
you
mean?
know who
I'd love.
did schedule the time to do that? Production.
I mean, I've been to an actual party where they said like Real Housewives is filming here, and I just ducked the whole time. Like I didn't want to be seen on it.
I DJ'd an event where they were filming.
You told me about that, and it was oh,
It
yeah, and
was
then they
the worst DJ event I have ever done,
I
and
don't
it is not because there was drama. I they were filming there, but I was not pretty sure I was not featured in the episode or anything like that. Not that I was wanting to. I didn't even know that that was happening until that evening. So I was not privy to this. I had curated a whole
all this
bunch of
music.
all these songs and stuff like that to play for this like lovely gala event, and then a producer comes up to me uh, as I'm getting all my gear together with us. Okay, so also this was over 10 years ago, and they're very, very lucky that I use turntables. I don't use
Mhm,
CDJs. So
right,
I of course, my computer as well, but I have my turntables, and so he's very
right,
lucky that I even had, like, a CD on my older computer, they had, like, a CD drive, like, my new one doesn't have one, so I would have been like, "Snap," and just break it and
right.
throw it away, but he gave me the CD, and he was like, "Hey, since we're filming, you'll need to play this," and I was like, "Is this an effing joke?" It was, like, backing track of like doom 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 doo doom doo doo. No, that's Sex in the City. But you know what I mean.
No,
Whatever the
yeah,
music is, like that's what it was. And I was like, I felt like the biggest chump on the face of the planet. it was so embarrassing because I was like, "Oh my god, I hope these people, like, they're just listening. Shoot me. I'm playing the same thing over and over
Over
after
and
each
over.
speech
Thank
and
God
stuff."
you brought a DJ in, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it was nuts. It was very disappointing. So, having that experience on my end, not even really knowing about it, sometimes I wonder when you do see these scenes with them in a party setting and you know that they can't play licensed music. I'm like, what are they
Right,
playing? Are
right.
they playing like those little like interlude songs that they play that it's like, we're just girls walking down the street? Like these really like bizarro songs that you're like,
Getting
who made this?
getting TikTok music.
Is that what it is?
Well, I mean, there is what is it? Music that's not licensed, like, it becomes public domain,
Yeah, like the
right?
happy birthday song.
There's
Speaking of
right,
birthdays.
yeah. The music for Unique Sweets was public domain.
Okay, yeah, like
Stuff
royalty
like
free
that.
kinda music and stuff.
Exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Oh
but
boy.
that's must yeah, I couldn't imagine cultivating, like, a whole DJ set and then one song over and over again like an insane asylum.
It was really nuts. When they wrapped filming toward the very end, when they had just a mix and mingle that literally probably lasted 15 minutes, I finally got to play my own music, and it was lovely, but other than that, I just felt so embarrassed. I was like, "This is terrible." So, now every time that I see any of these events where they do have somebody, I'm like, "What are they playing? I wanna know, like, what are they forced
I
to."
know, yeah.
Oh, maybe they have more freedom now, I'm not sure, but I'm sure I'll never know. It's fine. But okay, so hard passes on all of those things. Very good
Yeah,
because you are authentically you, which you have really grown into and leaned into completely in your social media and your videos and everything like that and your content. In that sort of shift, your audience that may have known you from shows past and now leaning into everything that makes you you, have you seen any kind of shifts or differences in your audience? Have people who may have known you from Unique Sweets been like, "Ah, wait a minute, what's going on now?" And like
actually, so I waited till my daughter was older, till I really let loose, really leaned into my cannabis
yeah,
use, and I'm not like an all day, every day, but I love the option to have it, and I enjoy it.
yes.
So I really waited till she was older for that to, like, go public with, and then with the provocative sayings, because
Mhm.
as a teenage girl, like, the last thing you wanna do is like, "Yeah, my mom is making slutty cakes." Like, I wanted, like, her to be older and, not embarrassed by her mom, really, because it's when you post things, it's there forever. There's, like, even if you think you take it down, it's, like, there forever. So, out of consideration for my spawn,
Mm,
I did wait to, like, really lean into really going into my sense of humor onto cakes and with the weed use. So, the fun thing is that I really had to make that decision, like, "Okay, I'm really gonna lean into my cannabis use and show that I have it." Uh, my audience got a lot bigger.
mhm.
And I had, like, a lot of people have found me, he's like, "Oh my god, I loved you on Unique Sweets, and now I found you here. I'm so excited." And then "You're so much better here." I'm like, "Well, I'm unedited."
Right, there's no censorship, right. So
Exactly, yeah,
there's
because like, none of my cakes or none of my posts or any like, I won't do anything mean. I won't do anything pointedly rude towards somebody. It has to, like, it's gotta be tongue in cheek, laughable,
Mhm.
you know? So, the audience, once I really leaned into, like, Paulette, like the Polly vibes, the audience and still just gets bigger and bigger. So I'm happy about that, obviously.
Yeah, no, it's amazing because you don't what more could you want than people along for the ride who are there for everything that you naturally are, right?
Yeah, I mean, I literally get so much love on Instagram. I have people messaging me all of the time. I love your work. You make me so happy. I look forward to your posts every single day. So what I hear a lot is I want to be you when I grow up. And all I can think of is, um, I haven't grown up yet. And are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Because so
It's so
as I
amazing to
am
hear though.
oh my gosh, like, I am overwhelmed with the love that I get. It's really, really cool. Like, I literally get such a dopamine dump from the love that I get. Like, I'm very, very grateful for it. Like, I learned I need to go because, with Instagram, there's messages, and then there's hidden messages, and then there's the hidden messages
Yes, they have it's like an
and
onion
layers. Yeah,
layers of messages. Oh, I don't know why. I'm like, if they're just hidden, you can't just put all those together.
I mean, I don't understand it, but I learned I do need to go and check those because in my hidden messages was Alana Glazer ordering a cake from me for her daughter,
How did
right? So
that
that was
end up
last
in the
year.
hiddens?
I can't. I mean, who
Isn't
decided
this
that?
like a
Like,
verified account? Like, why
like,
would that
like
one be, or
for
was it a
me,
Finsta? Or was it like her?
it was her. No, it was her because I made the cake for her last year and again this year.
uh,
She's awesome. She's so cool.
what kind of cake did she request?
This year was vanilla vanilla. She always wants something fun, but she's like to make the kids happy.
She wants something
Vanilla.
fun. Vanilla vanilla.
First she wanted something strawberry chocolatey.
Uh-huh.
But her and her husband are some of the nicest, sweetest people I've ever met. They're so thoughtful for everyone around them. Like they really want to make sure everyone's comfortable, everybody's happy. And she thought, I think vanilla vanilla is just like a safer bet for a kids party,
That's very
which is
true.
it's very true.
It's a crowd pleaser. I don't know anybody who would get upset about it.
There's no one out there going, oh God, not this one.
Right, yeah. They're gonna be like,
Yeah.
"Amazing, great, love it," rather than going too avant-garde, especially at a kids party.
Kids, yeah, especially, yeah. So that I learned I need to check my hidden messages. I try to check it at least once a week.
Mhm.
I do get a lot of join here for this sex chat. I'm
We've
like, "Well,
already
baby,
discussed that's the one thing you won't do.
I've got that one thing, hardcore porn, no."
And so you really started to see the traction in your account growing when you were posting more of what? More of the provocative cakes, more of the cannabis material, both
Both.
together
Yep, both.
with the
Um,
powers combined.
and that's, like, one of the things I mean, I didn't realize what was happening, but Instagram sent me, like, this is a long time ago, years ago, like, a questionnaire, and I thought it was just like, "How do you like Instagram?" What I didn't realize was
Penny for your
it
thoughts?
was like yeah, it was, like, being brought into the creators program. I didn't realize it, though,
Oh.
and I was just like, "Oh, there's a questionnaire from Instagram. Sure, I'll fill it out." So I said, and I mean it though, like I go to Instagram for inspiration.
Yeah,
I don't go there to like make myself depressed or anything like that. And
good.
all the F's I give about on Instagram, it's food, fashion, floral, and frosting.
Mm.
Those are all the F's I care
The
about.
4 Fs.
So exactly,
Wait,
right?
isn't that like a farmer's club or something? Or
I think it is. Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
the other, don't come after us, farmers.
Right.
The other 4
The
Fs.
other four
Yeah.
F's. So, and I said, because when I first got into cake decorating in New York City, there was like a handful of cake artists. If you worked for one, the other ones wouldn't hire you. It was like a really weird, small,
Just like the
incestuous
mafia.
world. It really, really was. It
Uh-oh.
really was. So with Instagram, it totally got rid of that. And now I talk to cake decorators in South Korea, in London, in Manila. Like, the world got so small in cake decorating. And like, I have genuine friends all over the world because, like, just admiring, like, I just became friends with this girl in Atlanta and like, I'm in love with her. Her work is flawless, amazing. Like, because I'll just reach out to someone and go, your work is stunning. I'm so impressed.
Oh.
And just, show love, like, and appreciation for their work. And from that, I've gotten some really cool friendships. It's been amazing.
To your point just now, I think that I'm always impressed with how you choose, and I'm saying choose because how people use Instagram is a choice, how you choose to use it because you you make it a really joyful and supportive space
Yeah.
where you will uplift other people, you will show love to other people, you'll write like the nicest comments on like my weird posts, and it's
I love
just
your post. You're so cute. You love your work. I mean, okay, so literally, that's how I feel.
no, I
So
know,
I
but
have
you're
to share
but that's it, that you're genuine. You know, like I have friends, and just no shade, and figure out who you are. But I have friends, like real life friends, who like, you know, maybe will give a heart to my stuff or see a story, whatever. But like, not make a comment or anything like that. And not saying that anybody has to. There's not that
No, I know,
pressure.
I know.
But like, it is so nice when somebody does take that extra step that really doesn't even take much energy, but it's just the sentiment behind it is just so pure and nice, and it really can make somebody's day, the littlest thing. And I don't think a lot of people really think about that. I mean, for you to even did the person in Atlanta you were talking about, was it a DM that you sent them saying that your
Yeah, yeah,
work?
yeah.
Yeah, like sending somebody a message like that. Your work is so beautiful, and then not knowing, is it going to show up in the layers section of messages? Are they even going to see it? I don't
Right.
know. But if they do, how lovely to see something like that. I have a weird question. Have you ever sent a nice, beautiful message to somebody and maybe you saw that they saw it, but they didn't respond? You don't have to name names, but did that ever
Um,
happen or no?
everyone's been every time I've sent them a DM,
Yes.
I've always got a response.
Ah, okay. Beautiful.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
That's not the case with me, but it's okay. You have left me on
I
red.
love
You Yep, I will send a nice message. You saw it. No response.
that.
That makes
I
me
really
just
feel
real feel self-conscious about myself.
oh, shit.
See, you know how to build community, and I find that very admirable. I
Thank you.
try, and then it's a two-way street, so it's
Well,
fine.
we'll work more together. In fact, I was just
Tag
like,
team,
wow, that's
tag team community.
let's
It'll
tag
it'll
team,
be
right?
it'll just be lots of group chat DMs to people. Like I've got my wing woman with me just to maintain that you respond back to me.
We're here, you're gonna respond.
In a lot of your videos, you incorporate history into them too, in the different dessert and cake makings. When did that become a point of interest for you, and why is that important and fun to talk about for you?
I love that you asked that question, that means the world to me.
Oh,
So, it stems back to my mom
mm,
being hoarding food. So, whenever I really love a food, I wanna know, where did this come from? Who made it? Which ingredients are you using? Where did they come from? What makes it so good from that? And so, I just wanna know, like, where things came
mm.
from and the history of it because I love like, reading old cookbooks because usually there's, like, a story of, like, how it came to be. And so, like, pineapple upside down cake, where'd that come from? How'd that happen? And so I got so into it, like, I learned, like, upside down cake has actually been around since the Middle Ages.
Whoa.
Uh, right? They would just put fruits on the bottom, it would be on an open fire, and they'd turn it over for upside down cake. It's been around that long. Pretty cool, right?
Whoa.
What happened was,
What were they
the dough
baking it in? What kind of a vessel?
it was a couple different things, but they had something called a spider pan when it was over a fire.
Spider
So it was like a skillet, but it had 3 legs that looked like a spider to hold it over the fire.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh,
Cool, right?
wow.
So that was the beginning of it. And so but when the Dole family went to Hawaii and pretty much forcibly not for absolutely forced out the royal family and took over the land and planted pineapple, because pineapple is not native to Hawaii. It's more native to, I think the Philippines, more in that area. And they just started planting all these pineapple plantations, and then canning also became a big thing at the same time. And so they had all these canned pineapple, and they were like, "What can we do to really push this and sell it?" And it was the very first time anyone had ever used newspaper for a nationwide ad was for Dole pineapple to make pineapple upside down cake.
That was the
Isn't that
first?
cool? Yes.
What the
So, like,
heck?
when I'm intrigued like that, and it usually comes from a food that I love, I'm like, where, what, who, why, what, how? I go down the rabbit hole, and I've been that way for as long as I can remember. So long before Google.
You are the original Google. What was maybe the most surprising origin story for a food or dessert that you came across? Aside from the Dole one,
Um,
because that's fascinating.
that's pretty yeah, right. Yeah, icebox cake.
Mhm.
There's so many layers to this to the name Icebox. And then there's a building in Nolita. It's called the Candle Building. It
Oh,
was actually originally it was a horse stable, and then it became a warehouse for ice for before we had electricity.
sure.
Everyone had to buy these big blocks of ice to put in their ice box to keep the perishables not going bad.
Mhm.
And that ice, so the Candle Building in Nolita, when it was storing ice, that's where when the mob would say you're going to be put on ice, it came from that building because the mob would actually put bodies on ice in the candle building.
Ah,
Yeah.
where
So like
where is this building?
it's on Spring Street.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it's called the Candle Building is because for a very long time, one man lived there and he was kind of like Edward Scissorhands inventor guy. And he had candles in every single window and he would go around and like light every single candle.
Well,
It was just him that lived there at the time. So then from Icebox, I was so intrigued as to like the cookies because it was the Nabisco original wafers were the original cookie to make Icebox. And I was so intrigued like that because I'm like, well, how famous are they if I'd never heard of them before? But they were just mostly an East Coast cookie. And they were
oh,
just these plain dark cocoa based cookies that if you tasted it, it tastes just like an Oreo because it is the beginnings of an Oreo. And so the originally Icebox, it was like usually layered in a loaf pan with these thin cookies
mm.
filled with fresh cream. And when you taste it, it tastes just like a fresh Oreo.
And they were like, we got to cookify this, cookieify it.
And that, yeah, and that became, and so the cream filling in an Oreo is meant to mimic the Icebox cake.
OMG.
Right. So they stopped making those original famous wafers. And so what I use are Oreo thins
Smart.
for it.
Do you know
For a
what? I
mixing.
don't think I've ever had an Oreo thin. That's such a
They
travesty.
are a miracle. Okay, so I actually met the food scientist who helped invent them.
What a privilege.
I said they're amazing. I said they give the best mouthfeel because
Wait, how did
I'm
you
a
meet them?
I used to give food tours
Wow.
in the village, and he was on one of my food tours, and I would always ask like, "What do you do?" He's like, "I'm a food scientist." I'm like, "You're what?" And then
Incredible.
I all I did was like talk to him about stuff about that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. What luck.
Yeah, food scientists have to sign like serious hardcore NDAs for their work,
Oh,
and I found out that like they'll like go to grocery stores and look at the formulas on cans, and they can tell like who's done that, like which food scientist is that.
what?
It's like I can see a cake, I know who made that cake. I don't even need to read it because like I still look at Bride's magazine to see what's going on out there. So like I can see a cake, I'm like I know exactly who did that.
Really?
So
You're like
scientists will say
Magnum PI of cakes.
because really, when you grow up with the food that you eat, like where I'm always intrigued, like where did it come from?
Hmm.
And 'cause, like, recipes from all over the world. Where did they like chocolate chip cookies is a really good example.
Yes.
Toll House was actually a bed and breakfast, and Marion, she was the woman that ran it. She was trying to make chocolate cookies and added in chopped up chocolate and thought they would melt, and they didn't. And that's how chocolate chip cookies were invented. And that's why they're called Nestle Toll House
Yes.
because Toll House was her bed and breakfast. And her cookbook's amazing. I have it.
Oh my God. I did. You need to make more. I know you have videos like this. You need to make more of these videos because I like listening to you talk about these things. I
Oh,
don't
thank you.
I don't want to like just read these things. I want to like listen to you telling me about these things. Like I should be told, maybe I should be embarrassed that I did not know that about chocolate chip cookies. That she
Well, I
thought it
mean,
was going to turn into chocolate and then it didn't. They didn't melt. They maintained to some degree
that's right.
their
Right.
structure.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's how so originally the recipe was to chop up chocolate and put it in, but then Nestle started making chocolate chips for these cookies, and that's how chocolate chips started to be made because it used to just be chopping up chocolate.
Right. And they're like, we could do one better.
Yeah, but like, you know what? Let's work on this, guys. So it's stuff
Food
like that. I'm so
scientists unite.
so I'm so intrigued. So it usually comes from something that I love. Where'd this come from? How'd this happen? Like a lot of stuff during the depression, when you what's that saying?
From the
You don't have a
depression,
lot
I cannot help you there. I wasn't around, unfortunately.
that same.
I know.
But you don't like have a lot, like you're forced to be creative with what little you have.
Yes.
So like
You
from the
work with what you
depression,
have or something like that, or
right? Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Well, this tomato soup cake was
Oh,
spawned because
I know about this only because of you, actually.
right,
So I'm like, aha, I've heard this from you.
right.
Yep.
So I'm really intrigued with stuff like that, and I actually have a collection. So what I'm working on next, one of the things I want to do next is make more
Yes,
videos
yes, yes.
explaining food. But I have a collection. I've got recipes from a bunch of different people from churches,
Okay.
grandmas,
Ah,
and I want to recreate these recipes exactly how they made them. And one of the measurements for butter is to have an egg size shape of butter. That's the measurement.
Because they just went like they had the and they just went sloop.
Just the butter should like be the same size and weight of an egg. Like
What is that,
that's the
like 2
measurement.
tablespoons?
I want to say like 3.
3? Okay.
Yeah, but
Large.
my brain is so literal. When I saw that, I'm like, all right, I guess I got to go fashion up a egg shaped thing of butter, like
How fun, actually. Come over for
right,
Easter. We're having butter eggs.
right, butter eggs. Love so. And I'm also like, I've always been so intrigued with like regional food because like there's certain foods throughout the country that like the rest of the country doesn't know about. I'm not gonna say not everybody knows about this, but like blueberry butter cake from St. Louis. Mwah, one of the best
Thank you,
foods I've
St.
ever had in
Louis.
my life. Delicious, right? Thank you, St. Louis. And Jello does 30% of its business worldwide in Utah because Mormons use so much Jello.
Why? What do they love about Jello for, like
It's
church things?
it's cheap. You can make a lot.
Okay.
You can do a lot with it. Like there's huge big cookbooks with it.
Okay.
So there's this one dish that in this new thing I want to work on. They make, I don't even know if you can call it food. They make this dish. It's lime Jello, Sprite, cream cheese, and Cool Whip, specifically Cool Whip.
Mhm.
So you mix that all together and you let it sit overnight. And then I don't want to, you don't really eat it because you don't need teeth.
Just
Um,
let it slide down your gullet.
yeah, I saw this at a restaurant and my sister saw the look on my face. I was like,
It was at a restaurant?
in Utah, it was what are they called? When there's a bunch of little plates with tons of food.
Like a buffet?
Yes, it was a
That's the
buffet.
only place that I would have accepted an answer from. Okay, that makes sense.
And
That makes sense.
I
Or a
went
hospital. Okay.
agreed, right? Completely. So I saw this stuff and my sister saw it, the look on my face. She goes, "Oh, that's the famous green jello." Because I'd heard of it. I just didn't know like that's what it was. Connecticut started election cake, and it was a cake soaked with alcohol to get the farmers to come and vote.
How
They
did
would like
that get them to vote, though? Wouldn't they just be, like, sprawled out on the floor afterward?
after they voted. Yes.
Okay, okay. They're like, "Before you get wasted, while you're buzzed, I've got a
Well,
great
yeah, get
idea.
in there and
Let's
vote.
go vote,
There and
man.
vote,
It's gonna be
right?
crazy."
Crazy, crazy. Yeah. So, well, and so like wedding cakes. Do you know why they're white?
The virginal aspect of it?
Because refined sugar was really expensive and only really rich people could afford it. So the more white it was, showed how much money you had. That's
Really?
why they're traditionally white.
Holy cow.
Like I'm so intrigued with stuff like that. Like why? Tell me the things.
Yes. I
So I just get obsessed. It's my own curiosity that takes me down these roads, and now I know why wedding cakes are white.
Oh my god, yes, you gotta tell everybody about I mean, I will share this episode, obviously, but yeah, you gotta yes,
Yeah,
more of this
more
content,
of this.
please,
So that's
more
being
of
worked
this
on. Thank
content.
you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, I
I
have
appreciate it.
my imaginary
And
fork and knife here, and I'm like, "Yeah,
going
yeah,
for it. Yeah.
more." Continuing on with your, amazing content, on your site, you have some recipes, and I wanna be walked through your recipe writing process, but I also wanna talk about the way that you write them too. It is sprinkled with what I would consider the most perfect humor. I wouldn't think that people could just glaze over and not get it. At least it is absolutely my humor, and I love it. And even before this, I was just cruising through some of them, and I was just laughing because just the little quips that you put in there are so funny. You'll clarify
I'm so
something by
glad you
calling
thank
somebody a peasant, like, and I know that it's it's meant in jest, but then also a
totally.
little bit serious, which also makes it funny because 'cause you're not a mean person, but it's just that's your humor. Is it when
Exactly.
you're writing these things, is it, a stream of consciousness, or are you kind of really mapping it out?
Stream of
Yeah.
consciousness. I really do it organically, and it's like literally like what I think about. Like, I know I did a recipe once, and I said like, now you need to let it rest. So go get a drink of wine, sit down, watch an episode of Bold and Beautiful. If that's your show. Like a time filler, because recipes can be so cut and dry and no
No levity.
personality in there. So like when someone's like told to wait for 45 minutes, I'll give you a suggestion of what to do with those 45 minutes.
Who doesn't love a suggestion?
That okay, so that's the other thing. Like a lot of people think baking is very hard. I don't, just because I love it so much and it's therapeutic.
Mm.
Like I absolutely love it. So in that I know a lot of people do just like go and read recipes. So I want it to be entertaining from just reading it.
How I know this is gonna be subjective, but from start to finish, how long can it take you to make one of your cakes?
Average time is about 6 hours. Depends on how many
Is
flowers.
that
Or with
assembly?
everything.
Is that with baking?
That's everything. Yeah,
Everything.
that's everything. So
You
I always bake the cake and make the frosting the day before I will fill it,
Mhm.
because cakes are so much better after they've been wrapped up and put in the fridge.
Yes.
So then, so it's baked and frosted. The next day I'll crumb coat and make the flowers. And then depending on my schedule, I'll leave that and come back to it later and start like another cake. Or I'll make all the flowers and then just start decorating it. I never sketch a cake because I do it organically. So when someone orders a cake from me, I ask them, what do you want written on it? And give me 3 colors. And that's it.
Oh, so they don't because I was gonna ask, has there ever been, uh, somebody who's ordered a cake that was just outrageous or too over the top or whatever, but they know when they're getting into this that
Yep.
these are the parameters. I'll take
Yep.
color. Do you do like theme? Is theme a part of it? What are they allowed to
I'll say like,
select?
what is this for? Like,
Okay.
I always ask for specific colors.
Mhm.
And like, if you want flowers or not, because not everybody wants flowers on their cake.
Right. Okay. And then the rest is up to so how do you get inspiration and how do you think with such
Um,
limited input on their part?
well, I've had enough trauma and I do enough drugs to be creative.
Done.
um, I literally, it's once I like know their 3 colors,
Yeah.
I'll mess around with it, and I love when like someone I think tried to challenge me once and gave me a color palette that was like it would be hard, but like the more opposite of the colors, the more they make sense together. I don't know if a lot of people realize that, like the color wheel. If you ever need to like lighten a color, you take the opposite color and add it to it, and it like tones it down. So like yellow and purple go so good together.
Yes. Just ask the Lakers. I think they would agree.
I love it. I love it. So once I get a color palette like that, I kind of build on it from there. So this woman, she wanted light blue, red, and green.
Wait, let me run that back in my mind. Light blue, red, and green. So like almost like Christmas, but with blue. Okay. All right.
So no Christmas.
Right.
So I made the base of the cake light blue,
Uh-huh.
and I made succulent flowers that were red and green, because that succulent looks so good with the red and the green.
Clever.
And this was the cake that said, "Poem about me. I hate people. I wish I was drunk." The end.
It's perfect.
So that's pretty much it. Like, once I get, like, the colors that they like, I start thinking about it in that like, what I start with is what do I want the base of the cake to be, and everything falls together with that.
So that's kind of the process for you. You work almost from the bottom up.
The canvas.
Mhm.
Right, exactly. I literally think, like, once the cake is in the base color, that's my blank canvas to go for it then.
Well, this is fascinating. I've never asked you about your artistic process before. So this is cool.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you did.
How can people follow and support you? Plug away.
Oh, you're so sweet. Polly Cooks on Instagram and TikTok if it's still around. So Instagram, Polly Cooks, and then I don't have the dates yet, but it's come. You'll look. I'll post it. I'll be judging the holiday specials of Beat Bobby Flay coming up soon. Gigi Hadid hosts, so it was really cool getting to film with her. And then our queen, the one and only Ina Garten, got to film with her again. It was a lot of fun. Very cool episodes. So those are coming up for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Amazing. Paulette, thank you so much for sharing
A
your
pleasure. I'm
stories
glad
and
to be here.
spending time with me here today.
Anytime. So we need to meet up again soon.
Thanks for watching. You can find links and more info in the description below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. See you next time.